Let's talk about how to get out of a funk. When you're feeling really stuck, when you're feeling like something won't shift, when you feel like you're doing the same thing and you're just grinding and nothing's changing inside of you, how do we shift that? Now, I learned this many years ago because I was stuck in my life. Like I was getting the same kinds of results. I would feel little highs here and there, but I always come back to feeling pretty unfulfilled, generally speaking. I had lots of things kind of working for me on the outside, but nothing was kind of doing it for me. I was avoiding depression by feeling anxious, which was a really effective strategy back then for myself. And I learned this one specific strategy that I'm going to boil down into 3 points. The third one is one you want to stick around for because I haven't heard other people talk about it like this. And if the first two don't work, I can guarantee that if you practice the third strategy that I'll give in this, then you will get something new out of how you're stuck right now that will unshake you or shake you loose from how you're stuck right now. So the first thing is, this might seem obvious, do something, right? Do anything. Get your body engaged, go somewhere and do something with people. If you're used to doing things with people all the time, go by yourself. Go to a class, go someplace. This is a really interesting piece that I've discovered recently. I find a lot of value in going in a public place and doing something that's vulnerable. Now, for me, the expression of that, that could be taken the wrong way, I'm just realizing. But it's not. It's like I'll go to a yoga class and the postures for me, the stretching is like actually a vulnerability for me, right? I find a way to express a certain level of vulnerability in the postures, in the practice. And you could go to any class. It could be like a Zumba class who one of my good friends goes to. She loves it and she's like shaking and she's whooping and she's, and it's like she's open, and that way she's vulnerable for herself. And she loves those because it activates something really wonderful inside of her. So go somewhere and do something, A, with people if you're used to not doing things with people, or B, by yourself if you're not used to spending time by yourself. And this is the critical piece, is find a way to be vulnerable within that expression. Now, again, vulnerability might be like dancing around and whooping and doing your Zumba thing, right? Or it might be something like a mindfulness practice where you go inside of yourself and open something. And it may not even be talking about things that are vulnerable to you, but how do you express vulnerability, openness, reception, or expression in your body? That's the first thing, is do something. Now here's my little catchphrase in the second one. I learned this when I was a wilderness guide years ago, when an instructor taught me this. And it's what you do when you're lost in the wilderness. As it turns out, it's something you can do to get out of a funk at the same time. It goes like this. Don't just do something, stand there. Right? So if you're in the wilderness and you get lost, you're not supposed to go wander off. You're supposed to just stay there and wait for someone to find you. Now, the same thing goes for don't just doing mindless things, stand there, right? Just be, baby. Just be, just relax into the moment. Just allow, take away all distractions. People call this meditation. I just call it doing nothing, right? People ask me a lot. It's like, how do you meditate? Like, what do you do when you meditate? Now, when I started meditating, let me take you on a little journey here. When I started meditating, I did a lot, right? I was doing some breath work, Kapalabhati breath work. You can do a Google on that and learn how to do that. It's a very effective kind of intense breath work that'll quiet your mind. Analoma Viloma breath, Anaviloma, Analoma Viloma breath is a very relaxing, but also a way to engage your body and have you calm down too. So those are two types of breath work that I would practice in the beginning. I also practiced a mantra. So Om Namah Shivaya, it's a Sanskrit word that means I am that, I am God, I am spirit within me. And it's a way to focus the mind on a very high frequency words that are able to quiet the mind as well. So you can do those kinds of things. It takes discipline and it takes practice, but eventually where you're trying to get to is doing nothing. And now that's what I meditate. And people they're like, what do you mean you just sit there? I was like, I just sit there. And that's what I do every morning. It's so delightful. And you can achieve this just through some practice, right? Now you'll probably need a coach or a mentor or some kind of discipline to get you to that point, to the point that I've gotten to, where I can just sit and be. And even if you just do this for 5 minutes, let your mind do its thing. Distinguish the mind from you. Become the observer. Let it do that. Let it do its thing. You do you. And observe, and peace will enter your psychology. I guarantee it if you practice it long enough, right? So don't just do something, sit there. Practice being. 5 minutes a day. It'll shift everything, because in those 5 minutes, you're going to practice compassion for yourself. You're going to practice tolerance, which is a stepping stone to compassion. You're going to practice emotional resilience, because you'll learn how to tolerate and thus have compassion for yourself. And so you'll build a level of emotional resilience, which you'll take into your day. All inside of that, there will be a peace that will gradually arise through sitting and doing nothing for 5 minutes a day, right? So those two things, do something, or don't just do something, sit there. And then the third thing, and there's the last thing that I'm going to get to here in a second, is eat, drink, and sleep. Eat well, drink well, and sleep well, right? And do all you can to set up those 3 foundations for physical health. I'm not going to go into that. You can find a million videos literally on how to eat well, drink well, and sleep well for your body, for your lifestyle, right? But do those 3 things, and then do something and don't do something, and notice how you can get out of a funk. Now, you'll probably have to do something different than what you're doing right now, right, to get different results. So that's the big thing. Now, here's the thing. If none of that works, the do something, don't do something, and eat, drink, and sleep don't work, here's the thing you'll need to look at, and it is your mindset. Look at the beliefs that you have about yourself feeling or being differently. I have some clients that I'm working diligently and compassionately with right now around looking at how their mindset is keeping them stuck in a funk. And they also will do kind of the same things over and over again. And I'll try to I will compassionately reflect those things to them in a way that they can start to see it for themselves. But this is the thing. If you're doing things differently, like you're doing new activities, new patterns, new habits, you're drinking, and sleeping well, and you're doing something that's fresh and new that has your body engaged, and you're not doing things like sitting and meditating or just being and you're practicing, and you're feeling the same way, then this is a mindset issue. Meaning you have certain limiting beliefs active inside of you that are keeping you stuck. It could be that this belief that you can't feel any differently than you are. You're not going to get any different results, meaning your relationships are going to stay the same. Your job situation is going to stay the same. You can't achieve more financial wealth. There are limiting beliefs that are inside of you that are dictating the kind of results that you're going to get. How are you doing that? Because those beliefs are limiting your thinking, and thus your feeling, and thus your actions. It's really interesting. I see people that take really helpful actions that are even new in all the things I'm just discussing here with you, and they get the same results. Why? Because they don't believe, and even you could say they don't know, that something else is possible for them. So this is where it's very helpful to get yourself immersed in some kind of a transformative program. There are programs like PSI, Landmark Education, SciMa, Awaken Life, Tony Robbins, all these different programs that are aimed on getting people to look at their limiting beliefs and shift out of them and live in a new way with a different mindset. So that's what you got. Do something, don't do something, eat, drink, and sleep. And if none of that works, look at your mindset and reinvent yourself. All my best to you.